Greetings, brothers and sisters. Hello and welcome back to Witches of the Moon. I'm Eva Maria, your Monday hostess, and this is Season 8, Week 3, I think. I'm pretty sure it's Week 3. And our topic for this week is favorite spell oils and or spell oil recipes if we wish to share some. So what I decided to do for this video is I'm going to kind of do both. I'm going to share with you a little information about a spell oil and a magical oil that I have been using a lot lately, and I really do love it. And I'm going to link in the description a video from my own channel where I did some substitutions on an oil by the Lady Gravedancer, and it worked out really well. So, if you want to check that out after you watch this video, you can go down to the description, you can click on that link, and you can check that out. With that said, the oil that I'm going to speak on is frankincense oil. Now, I haven't been using an essential frankincense oil, though I could, I just haven't. Sometimes I will use fragrance oils, but that doesn't mean that they're any less powerful. At least I have found that you can use either equally well, whether it's a fragrance oil or whether it's an essential oil. But the difference is you don't want to go trying to use a fragrance oil for medicinal purposes. That's a whole other ball game. You want to make sure if you're going to be using oils for aromatherapeutic, medicinal purposes, that you are familiar with the oil that you're going to be using, that you're familiar with aromatherapy as a practice, and that the oil that you are using for those purposes is pure, and you want to find out if the particular oil that you are going to use for aromatherapy, assuming that that's something you want to do, or for medicinal purposes, if that can be taken internally, if it needs to be diluted in a carrier oil. Usually that's the case. If you're going to put it on your skin or someone else's skin, you want to make sure, usually they have to be diluted. I'd say probably 9 times out of 10. But then again, I guess it depends where on the body it's going. The certain places on the body are more sensitive than others. My point being, before I get into the qualities of frankincense, I just wanted to remind you all and to, inform those that are not familiar with aromatherapy or, medicinal use of essential oils that it's serious like herbs, because it is a pure oil derived from a plant, that you're going to be using, or oils in that kind of practice. So be sure that you're aware if you're working with a fragrance oil versus an essential oil, that there are differences. It's not the same thing. But again, the oil that I have been using, it is a fragrance oil, but I don't find fragrance oils any less potent. With that said, frankincense has some very positive qualities. Particularly, frankincense it's an herb that is very associative with the sun and with fire. It's very solar, fire associative. Therefore, the qualities that frankincense oil, the qualities it's associated with, the things that it's good for, tend to be things such as prosperity, luck, purification, blessings, empowerment. This can be your own empowerment, assuming that you would wear the oil, or this can be to empower another person if you're working to help them to maybe cultivate their personal power. If you're someone who is maybe a spiritual counselor or a healer, maybe you will recommend that a client wear frankincense oil if they are having issues with, their sense of self and their sense of empowerment. That's something that could definitely help them. But also frankincense oil, a lot of practitioners will add frankincense oil or actual frankincense to spell workings that they are doing, whether it's putting some oil on a candle, some frankincense oil on a candle, or maybe some frankincense sprinkled, over a candle, or whether that's, putting it into a poppet, or whether that's, adding some of the frankincense oil into a bath, or what have you. It's added into spell work to make the spell work stronger. It kind of tends to give the work like an oomph, This is particularly well known by root workers who practice hoodoo. But that doesn't mean that if you don't practice hoodoo that you can't utilize frankincense to lend power, additional power to the workings that you're doing. You absolutely can. So other things that frankincense oil is good for, things such as anointing, consecrating tools, anointing tools for consecration, for example, or anointing places or people in order to consecrate them or bless them. The oil, it's very good. Frankincense oil is very good for exorcism. It's very good for new beginnings. And also, if you are beginning a new venture, starting something new, and you want to be sure that things go well and stay well, I would recommend utilizing frankincense oil, or even actual frankincense, somewhere in your spell work that relates to that thing, that new beginning, that new venture that you're starting. It will definitely help to keep things prosperous and lucky and upbeat. It'll lend solar associations, good things to that new venture, and kind of keep it as it should be, as you'd like it to be, I mean to say. Also, frankincense oil is good for things like peace. It's good for wisdom. Particularly, it is very helpful in meditation or in the pursuit of gnosis if you are a chaot. Frankincense as a whole, whether it's an herb, whether it's an incense, whether it's an oil, but in this case we're talking about oils, frankincense itself, it has a sort of association with Christ qualities. Now, before you all come gathering up and run me out of town with pitchforks, hear me out. I'm not talking about the religious institutions that, are associated with Christianity that kind of are warped sometimes. I'm talking more about the essential beliefs themselves in terms of Christianity, but particularly I'm talking about the qualities of the figure of Christ, qualities that Christ would embody, things like forgiveness, brotherhood, peace, justice, all these good, positive qualities. Jesus, according to what the lore says, he was a really cool dude, Frankincense kind of has qualities associated with those sort of characteristics that he would essentially embody, Also, frankincense oil, or frankincense in general, it's very good for work with divinity overall, regardless of which divinity we're talking about, particularly divinities that are more light polar, more yang polar. I don't want to say good or evil because that's really subjective in a lot of cases. But when we're talking about divinities that, in terms of polarity of yin and yang, they tend to be more yang polar, not necessarily male. There are some female deities that can be sort of yang polar, lighter, exhibiting qualities that would be more on the light scale than on the dark scale. Though that's not to say you couldn't use frankincense with a darker scale, a darker polarity deity. But work with divinity, frankincense is very good for that, because of its purification and blessing and sanctity sort of qualities. What else can I say about this? Sorry, I'm just looking at my notes. A powerful oil blend for healers that concerns frankincense oil. You can add some frankincense oil into olive oil. And the frankincense being very associative with, you know, purification and blessings and sanctity and all that positive, like solar association, combined with the healing power of olive. Together, these would be a very good oil blend for those of you who practice healing. Maybe even, for example, if you're a massage therapist, you may want to consider creating a blend with frankincense and olive oil, trying that with some of your clients. You know, it'll not just, you know, facilitate the practice of giving a massage by the fact that it's an oil, but it'll also help to cleanse their etheric bodies, heal their etheric bodies, their physical self too. Like while you're administering the massage, which tends to the physical body, it'll also energetically tend to their etheric bodies, you know, their aura and their energy and all that kind of stuff. And that's kind of like a really good way to well round the practice, I think. So in my case with frankincense oil, I've been wearing it a lot. And that's not obviously the only way to utilize the oil. As I said before, you can add a few drops to a mojo. You can add some to a bath. You know, you can put some on a candle. There's so many things. You can anoint things with it. There's so many different ways that you can utilize an oil. The sky's the limit. Go with your intuition. I'm not going to say there's a right way or a wrong way. I personally prefer to wear the frankincense oil that I have, and the reason why is because I feel that it sort of imbues me with the qualities as I go out, you know, throughout my day and as I kind of do my thing. I like to put some kind of behind each ear, a little bit like here. I put some on my wrists and the insides of my elbows. Those are the places that I tend to put it. And the reason why is because as my body temperature rises, just, you know, doing things during the day, the frankincense sort of heats up and it exudes that aura around me. You know, the scent becomes stronger, and there's a sort of aromatherapy quality to it, you know, smelling the fragrance, but also the energy of the oil is there because I am wearing it. So it kind of like you get the best of both worlds. You get the aromatherapeutic quality and then you get the energetic quality. So that's how I tend to utilize that. And I guess that's all that I have for you at this point in the video. I think I've pretty much exhausted all that I can say about frankincense oil. And with that said, I'm just going to remind you all, do go down to the description below. Check out that video I have for you of the oil where I made substitutions on an oil blend by the Lady Grave Dancer. It's an excellent oil that it's for money and for like success and for all that kind of stuff. So if that's something that interests you, I do invite you to go down below and check that out. And with that said, do stay tuned to see what oils everyone else this week will be talking about. And if you have any questions or comments, I welcome those below in the comment section. And with that, blessed be and Ashe. You all have an excellent evening. And until our next exchange, until next time, stay awesome. And bye-bye for now.